Today's second video on Russia-Ukraine conflict. Firstly, Russian President Putin called Emmanuel Macron, French President, an hour-long call. What happened in the call? Because Macron has released a statement after this call. Secondly, talks were held between Ukrainian and Russian officials today once again in Belarus. What happened in the talks? Was some progress made or not? Thirdly, Russian forces have entered a town where there is largest nuclear power plant of Europe. This town has largest Ukrainian nuclear plant, which is also largest European nuclear power plant. And lastly, viewers, Ukrainian mud season is creating problems for Russian vehicles. It could be a big problem for Russians in coming days. We have some pictures, videos showing that Russians are losing some of their expensive armaments, expensive weaponry because of this mud season and because of poor quality of Russian tires which are being used by Russian vehicles, military vehicles. Firstly, viewers, Putin called Emmanuel Macron, French president, today. They have spoken several times since the start of this war almost 8 days ago. I think Macron is the only leader from the EU with whom Putin is connected. He calls Putin. Putin calls Macron and vice versa. What happened in the phone call? After this phone call, Macron released a statement. He says, Putin is not going to stop the attack at this point of time. So Russia has made it clear that it will press ahead with ongoing military offensive on Ukraine. 2 hours ago, Putin held a meeting of National Security Council of Russia. In that meeting as well, he said that Russia would press ahead with the ongoing military operation. He said everything was going according to the plan. So, no signs of any immediate ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia in coming hours. Secondly, talks were held today between Ukraine and Russia in Belarus. It was the second round of talks between the two countries. What happened in the talks? Any agreement? The two sides agreed on setting up humanitarian corridors for evacuation of civilians and for delivery of aid. There could be temporary ceasefire in the areas where civilians will be evacuated from and where aid will be delivered. Only thing which has been agreed so far. No other agreement regarding ceasefire, regarding cessation of hostilities. Next round of talks will be held at the start of next week. So we can say so far no considerable progress has been made in the talks. I was comparing Tigray conflict and Russia-Ukraine conflict, that in this conflict, Russia has agreed to set up a humanitarian corridor for delivery of aid to civilians. Those civilians are attacking Russian military. We have seen several videos showing that civilians are blocking, they are attacking, they are stopping Russian military. But still, Russia wants to provide aid to these civilians in Ukraine. What did we see in Ethiopia, in Tigray? Tigray is being kept under siege. Aid is not being allowed to enter Tigray. We've seen several pretexts adopted by Ethiopian government to block aid into Tigray. It should not have happened in Tigray. Tigray is still under siege, viewers. Thirdly, Russian military has entered another town which has a nuclear power plant. This is the largest nuclear power plant not only in Ukraine but also in Europe. One of the top 10 nuclear power plants in the world. The power plant is in Enerhodar town of Ukraine. It's a southeastern Ukraine. Name of the plant is Zaporizhzhia. Here Russian tanks have been seen in Enerhodar town. Have Russian forces taken control of this nuclear power plant? It's not clear so far. But if they are in town, if they have managed to enter town, obviously they could seize this nuclear power plant in coming hours. Yesterday I showed a video from Enerhodar where locals were trying to block the road. They were trying to block Russian entry into the town. Russians have entered this town. They are moving toward this nuclear power plant. Russians are in control of Chernobyl as well. Chernobyl on Belarus-Ukraine border is under Russian control. Russian forces entered this area, I think 2 or 3 days after the start of this war. And Chernobyl, I think, it's not functional. Chernobyl is not functional, I think. It's under Russian control. Now, the second power plant, nuclear power plant, it's going to come under Russian control. Lastly, viewers, Russian forces are facing problems due to mud season in Ukraine. In southern Ukraine, in Crimea, weather is generally drier. That is why perhaps we are seeing that Russians have made gains in southern Ukraine. Kherson has been taken by them, Melitopol, then other places in southern Ukraine, they have been captured by Russian forces. But in other parts of Ukraine, they are facing problems. One of the reasons experts say is this mud season. Russian military vehicles are using Chinese tires or Russian tires of poor quality, and these vehicles get stuck in mud. We have some pictures, videos showing that some costly Russian military pieces of equipment, they have been lost by Russians due to the tires, stuck in mud. We have this picture for you. The picture shows a Pantsir S1 air defense system. It's a missile system. It costs around 15 million US dollars. It accompanies moving convoys to protect them from air strikes or drone strikes. So it's a very costly piece of equipment. And you can see that it is stuck in mud. And Russian forces, they had to abandon this costly Pantsir S1. Several other videos, pictures show that Russian military is facing this problem due to mud season in Ukraine, which will continue in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Some experts say that Russian military vehicles are not properly maintained. They were poorly maintained, and there are some questions about the quality of the material, quality of the tires. That is why they are getting stuck in muddy areas, as we saw in the video. Watch one video showing a Pantsir S1 stuck in a muddy area somewhere in Ukraine. Russians will have to move along paved roads. These military vehicles, tanks, artillery pieces, they cannot afford to go off-road. They'll have to remain along the road, on the road. That is why their advance could be slow in these areas in central, northern and southern Ukraine. I'll update you in coming videos about this thing. It's a very important observation by some experts. Watch this video showing a Pantsir S1 Russian air defense system costing 15 million US dollars stuck in mud somewhere in Ukraine. Thank you for watching.